Welcome back, guys. I hope you're all doing great today. In this video, we're doing something a little different. Usually for high score runs, we use the Subsurf Classic Hoverboard, but today we're using a dedicated coin farming combo instead. That's what makes this run interesting, because we're trying to build a high score while also collecting as many coins as possible. So stay with me until the end, and let's see how well this combo performs during today's gameplay. So yeah guys, my main goal for today's video is to beat my previous high score. The last big run I remember doing was with Utani, and if I'm not wrong, that run ended somewhere around 36 million score. That's the target sitting in my mind right now. Whether we reach it or not is another story, but I'm definitely going to give it a proper attempt and see how far this combo can go before the run starts getting really challenging. The biggest challenge isn't building the score, it's staying alive for that long. One small mistake after a long run can end everything instantly, so I'll be trying my best not to crash out and throw away a good score. We've got a long journey ahead of us, plenty of districts to cross, and hopefully a lot of points waiting for us. So let's keep the run going and see if we can create a new personal best today. Alright guys, we're about to enter another district, which means it's Secret Star guessing time again. What do you think we're going to get this time? Drop your guesses in the comments before it appears. Is it going to be one of the common ones that we keep seeing over and over, or will the game finally surprise us with something different? Let's see how many of you can predict it correctly before we reach the Secret Star location. Now the thing is, since I have already recorded this gameplay, I already know exactly which Secret Star we're getting here, so for me, there's no mystery left. But for you guys, this is your chance to make a prediction before it shows up on screen. Let's see who gets it right. Keep your guess in mind, and in a few moments we'll find out whether the game decided to be predictable or do something unexpected this time. And there we go, guys. We got a sight to behold as our first Secret Star. What's funny is that right after we finished talking about guessing the Secret Star, the game immediately revealed it. There wasn't even much time to build suspense. We barely finished the discussion and the answer was already sitting right in front of us, so if you guessed a sight to behold, congratulations, you got the first one right. But now the real challenge starts. The first Secret Star is collected, and that's always a nice start to the run. The bigger question is what we're getting next. Maybe you guys should focus your guessing skills on the second Secret Star now, because that's where things usually become a little less predictable. For now though, we'll happily take our first Secret Star and keep this run moving forward. And also guys, I actually have quite a lot of things I want to talk about during today's run, but I'm going to save all of that for a little later. First, I want us to finish collecting all 3 Secret Stars. Once we get that done, then I'll start talking about everything else I have in mind. I think it'll be more fun that way because we can focus on the Secret Star hunt first, and then move on to the other topics while the score keeps building in the background throughout the rest of the gameplay. Now we're in Under Tracks. Based on that alone, can you guess which Secret Star we're about to get? And no cheating, guys. Don't skip ahead and come back later with the answer. And there we go, guys. We got Treasure Transit here in Under Tracks. Now here's something I've always wondered. This Secret Star is supposed to be an ultra-rare Secret Star, but I feel like I see it all the time during my runs. It shows up so often that sometimes I forget it's even classified as ultra-rare. Maybe it's just my luck, or maybe this Secret Star secretly decided to follow me around every time I enter Under Tracks. Either way, I'll happily take it because a Secret Star is a Secret Star. But if you ask me which Secret Star actually feels ultra rare, I'd probably say Walk Away Wanderer. That one barely shows up for me. There are times when weeks go by and I don't see it at all, which is why it feels much rarer than Treasure Transit in my experience. What do you guys think? Do you agree with me, or is there another Secret Star that almost never appears in your runs? Let me know, because I'm curious if it's just my account being weird, or if you guys experience the same thing too. Alright guys, we're in the docks now, which means it's time for another secret star prediction. I already know what we're about, but you guys don't. If you had to guess right now, which secret star do you think is waiting for us here? And there we go guys, we got Boathouse Bounce. I had a feeling some of you would guess this one correctly. It's one of those secret stars that you instantly recognize once you see where it's located. So that's another secret star added to the collection, and we're continuing to make good progress through the run. The secret star hunt has been going pretty smoothly so far, which is always nice to see. But I wanted to ask you guys something about Boathouse Bounce. Do you find it difficult to collect sometimes? Because climbing up those containers and getting the timing right can be a little tricky if you're not expecting it. You need to position yourself properly, make the jump at the right moment, and grab it cleanly. For me, it used to be a little annoying at first, but after collecting it so many times, I've pretty much gotten used to it now. What about you guys? Now, we have collected all 3 secret stars, and that's exactly what we wanted before focusing completely on the score. The secret star hunt is officially done, and we also secured that extra 3x multiplier for the rest of the run. That's going to help us a lot as the score keeps building. Now we don't have to think about secret stars anymore. From this point onward, the mission is simple. Stay alive, keep collecting points, and see how far this run can go. But really guys, I'm pretty confident that we'll cross that 36 million score mark today. That's the score I reached during my previous high score run with you, Tani. And ever since then, I've wanted another chance to beat it. So that's the target sitting in my mind throughout today's gameplay. By the way, how's everything going for you guys? Have you been doing high score runs recently, or are you mainly focusing on coin farming missions and collecting resources this season? One thing I clearly remember from that Utani run was the number of cans I had to use for revives. There were quite a few crashes along the way, and while the final score was good, I wasn't really happy about depending on revives that much. This time I want things to be different. My goal is simple. Stay alive naturally for as long as possible and try not to use even a single can. It won't be easy, but that's exactly what makes this challenge exciting and worth attempting. The longer a run goes on, the more careful you have to become. At the start, a small mistake doesn't feel like a huge problem. But later on, after you've spent a long time building score, every movement starts to matter much more. That's why I'll be trying my best to stay focused and avoid unnecessary risks. If we can reach a new personal best score while keeping the run clean and controlled, that'll make the result feel even better by the end of today's gameplay. And honestly, one reason I wanted to make this video is because we've been doing a lot of coin farming content lately. We've tested different combinations, compared several setups, and spent plenty of time focusing on coins. Those videos are fun, but after a while I felt like changing things up a little. Sometimes it's nice to focus on a completely different objective and see how far we can push a run without thinking only about collecting the highest number of coins possible. That's one reason high score runs are always interesting to me. With coin farming, the focus is mostly on collecting coins efficiently. With high score runs, the challenge becomes survival. The longer you stay alive, the bigger the score gets. Every extra minute matters, every district matters, and the gameplay keeps getting faster as time goes on. That's what makes these runs exciting, because you never really know how long you'll be able to keep everything under control. So yeah guys, that's the plan from this point onward. We've collected all 3 secret stars, secured the extra multiplier, and now the focus is completely on the score. We're going to try and beat that 36 million mark, avoid using revives if possible, and keep this run alive for as long as we can. Do you think we'll manage to set a new personal best today, or do you think the game has something else planned for us? Let's find out together. Looking at this combo, do you guys remember it from one of my previous videos? This is the Billy Pawesome Hoverboard setup, and the main reason people liked it was because of how long the hoverboard stayed active. During that test, it almost felt like we had an infinite hoverboard for the entire run. I still remember looking at the gameplay and wondering if the board was ever going to disappear. That's exactly why I wanted to bring this combo back for another challenge today. What made that run even crazier was the fact that we barely used any hoverboards. If I remember correctly, we only ended up using around 2 throughout the entire gameplay because the board kept getting charged again and again. Normally, you're always thinking about when your hoverboard will run out. But with this setup, the hoverboard seemed to have other plans. Every time it looked like it was finally over, it somehow managed to keep going for even longer. Now compare that to something like the Subsurf Classic hoverboard. That's a great hoverboard for score building, but once it's gone, you usually have to wait before getting another one. Sometimes it comes back quickly, sometimes it takes longer. But with the Pawesome Hoverboard, it felt much more consistent. That's one of the biggest reasons I picked this combo for today's gameplay. The hoverboard itself gives us a completely different experience during longer runs. And let's not forget about Billy either. Billy is a huge part of why this combo works so well in the first place. A lot of people focus only on the hoverboard when talking about this setup, but Billy deserves some credit too. The way his abilities work together with the Pawesome Hoverboard is what helps keep the combo running smoothly. That's why whenever people talk about this setup, they usually mention Billy and the hoverboard together rather than treating them as separate pieces. Another thing I should mention is that this isn't really a traditional high-score combo. Most people would look at this setup and immediately think about coin farming instead. That's actually what makes today's challenge interesting. We're taking a combo that's known mainly for collecting coins and seeing how far it can go when the goal is score. And honestly, that's what I'm most curious about. Can a coin farming combo also survive long enough to compete in a serious high-score run? And speaking of today's combo, I should also give credit where it's due. This wasn't even my idea originally. One of my subscribers suggested it in the comments, and when I saw it, I thought it sounded interesting enough to test properly. So if you're watching this video right now, thank you for the suggestion. Sometimes you guys come up with combinations that I wouldn't normally think about trying, and that's exactly what happened with this one. That's actually one reason I enjoy reading your comments. A lot of the videos on this channel come from ideas that you guys suggest. Sometimes it's a character combo, sometimes it's a hoverboard combo, and sometimes it's a challenge idea. Not every suggestion becomes a video, but I do read them and keep them in mind. So if you have a combo that you think deserves testing, make sure to leave it in the comments because it might become a future video. Now I want to ask you guys something. If you had to choose between Billy plus Pawesome Hoverboard and Utani plus Subsurf Classic Hoverboard, which one would you pick? One setup is famous for coin farming, while the other is known for high-score runs. So if you could only use one of them for an entire week, which combo would you choose and why? I'm genuinely curious to see which side gets more votes in the comments. And while you're thinking about that, I have another question. What combo should I test next? Should we continue experimenting with unusual setups like today's one? Or should we go back to some of the more popular combinations? There are still plenty of characters, hoverboards, and abilities that we haven't fully explored yet, so if there's a specific combo you've always wanted to see tested, this is your chance to suggest it. Until then, let's just enjoy the gameplay and see how far this run can go. We're still building score, the hoverboard is still doing its job, and the challenge is only getting started. And yeah, I know the thumbnail and title probably reveal the final result already, so technically some of you know exactly where this run ends. But let's pretend you don't for a moment and see how close your guesses get before we reach the finish line. Also guys, here's something personal that I wanted to share with you. I actually recorded this video at around 11:30 p.m. And you know what's funny? By that time, I was already feeling pretty sleepy. Normally, I don't record long runs that late at night, but for some reason I really wanted to test this combo and see how far it could go. So even though I was tired, I decided to start the run anyway and just see what happened. And I think you can probably tell from the length of this video that I stayed awake for quite a while after that. A long run like this doesn't finish in a few minutes. It takes time, concentration, and a lot of patience. That's why while you're watching this gameplay, just remember that it was recorded pretty late at night when I would usually be relaxing or getting ready to sleep instead of trying to push for a high score. What makes it even more interesting is that this isn't really the time when I'm at my sharpest. During the day, I usually feel more focused and energetic. But at night, especially around that time, the sleepiness definitely starts kicking in. There were moments where I could feel it, but since I had already started the challenge, I just kept going and continued playing. I wanted to see the run through instead of stopping halfway. So yeah guys, that's just a little behind the scenes detail about today's video. Nothing too important, but I thought it would be interesting to share. By the way, what time do you usually play Subway Surfers City? Are you more of a daytime player, or do you also end up playing late at night like this? Let me know, because I'm curious to see if anyone else enjoys doing long runs when everyone else is already asleep. Now finally, let's talk about the gameplay itself. We actually crashed the hoverboard once or twice during this run, although I honestly don't remember the exact number anymore. But that's the interesting thing about this combo. Even if the hoverboard disappears after a crash, getting it back usually isn't a huge problem. That's one reason I like using this setup, because it doesn't feel like one mistake completely ruins the entire flow of the run. And something important to remember is that this only works this well because both Billy and the Pawesome Hoverboard are maxed out. That's a huge difference. Once everything is upgraded properly, the hoverboard starts feeling almost infinite during longer runs. If your upgrades aren't maxed yet, your experience might be a little different, so keep that in mind when comparing your results to what you're seeing in this gameplay. The good thing is that even after a crash, you're never too far away from getting the hoverboard going again. Sometimes you'll find hoverboard charges during the run, sometimes you'll stomp, and sometimes you'll pick up a battery that helps keep everything going. That's why this combo feels so comfortable during longer sessions. Even when things don't go perfectly, it usually gives you another chance to get back into the rhythm and continue the run. Looking at the score and coin count right now, we're sitting at 7.2 million score, and we've already collected more than 10,000 coins. That's actually pretty impressive considering we're only about 16 minutes into the gameplay. The score is moving nicely, the combo is doing its job, and the coins just keep stacking up as the run continues. So far, I'd say everything is going exactly the way we hoped it would. And here's the crazy part. Those 10,000 coins aren't even the final amount. Since we can double them at the end by watching an ad, that means we're basically looking at more than 20,000 coins from a single run if everything goes according to plan. When you think about it like that, the coin count becomes even more impressive. That's a huge amount for only 16 minutes of gameplay. This is also why I wanted to test this combo in a longer run. The longer you stay alive, the more value you get from everything. The score keeps increasing, the coins keep increasing, and the benefits just keep stacking together. That's why these runs become more interesting over time, because you start seeing numbers that would be difficult to reach in shorter sessions. So far, the combo is definitely delivering. The score is already well past 7 million, the coin count has crossed 10,000, and we're still not done yet. There's still plenty of gameplay left ahead of us, which means both numbers are going to keep climbing. It'll be interesting to see where we end up by the time this run finally comes to an end. On a different note, right now I'm just waiting for DeLorean Park. Out of all the districts, that's probably the one I'm looking forward to the most during this run. One reason is because this combo benefits a lot from the stomping areas there. There are so many opportunities to keep things going, and it just feels really satisfying moving through that district. Every time I enter DeLorean Park, I automatically start paying more attention because I know there's a lot of potential waiting there. And it's not just about the gameplay either. I feel like some characters simply look better in certain districts. For some reason, I always enjoy watching my character run around DeLorean Park more than anywhere else. Maybe it's the environment, maybe it's the atmosphere, or maybe it's just me. But if I could choose where most of my gameplay happened, I'd definitely pick DeLorean Park more often because I enjoy looking at it while playing. That actually brings me to something I've been thinking about. What do you guys think about having an option to choose which districts you want to play in? Imagine if the game let you select a single district or maybe choose a small group of districts before starting a run. Wouldn't that be fun? Instead of randomly cycling through everything, you could create your own route and spend more time in the places you enjoy the most. For example, if the game gave me that option, I'd probably choose Sunrise Boulevard and Undertracks during the night. I think both of those districts have a really nice atmosphere when everything is darker and the lights stand out more. They just feel different compared to the daytime versions. Whenever I enter those districts at night, it gives the gameplay a completely different vibe, and I honestly enjoy that quite a lot. Then, during the daytime, I'd definitely pick DeLorean Park and Southline. Those are the districts I enjoy seeing when everything is bright and clear. DeLorean Park especially looks great during the day because you can actually appreciate all the details around you. Southline is another one that feels much more lively when the sunlight is out. If I could build my perfect district rotation, those two would absolutely be included every single time. Now some of you are probably wondering, what about the docks? Don't worry, I haven't forgotten about it. If I could choose a time for that district, I'd probably play it in the evening. I don't know why, but that just feels right to me. The whole atmosphere of the district makes me think of late afternoon or evening gameplay. Maybe it's the water, maybe it's the containers, or maybe I'm just making things up at this point. But that's where I'd put it. And honestly, the more I think about this idea, the more I want it in the game. Imagine starting a run and being able to choose exactly where you want to spend your time. Some days you might want a full DeLorean park run. Other days you might feel like staying only in undertracks. It would add so much freedom to the gameplay and let everyone create their own favorite route instead of always depending on the normal district rotation. I also think it would make longer runs more enjoyable. Sometimes you're really looking forward to a specific district, but then you have to wait a long time before it appears again. With a selection option, that problem would disappear completely. You could spend more time in the places you enjoy and less time waiting for them to show up. That sounds like a win for everyone if you ask me, especially for players who have clear favorite districts. And let's be honest, I know I'm probably not the only one who thinks this way. I'm sure some of you have districts that you absolutely love and others that you don't enjoy as much. So, what would your perfect district setup look like? Would you stay in one district the entire time? Or would you create your own rotation with 2 or 3 different locations? I'm actually curious because everyone probably has a completely different answer. So yeah guys, if the developers ever decide to add something like that, I'd be very happy to see it. Being able to choose districts, choose the atmosphere you like, and build your own route sounds like a really fun feature. Maybe it'll never happen, maybe it will, who knows? But it's definitely one of those ideas that I think would make the game even more enjoyable. Let me know what districts you'd pick because now I'm curious to hear your choices too. And guys, from this point onward, we'll start talking about specific topics one by one. Instead of jumping between different things every few seconds, we'll pick a topic, talk about it properly, and then move on to the next one. I think that'll make the commentary a little more organized and also give us more time to share our thoughts on each subject without rushing through everything too quickly during the run. And don't worry, that doesn't mean we're going to ignore the gameplay. We'll still talk about the run whenever something interesting happens. If we collect something important or have a close call, we'll definitely talk about that too. After all, that's the main reason we're here. The gameplay always comes first, and the topics are just something fun to discuss while the score keeps climbing in the background. So let's see how this goes, guys. We'll take things one topic at a time, enjoy the gameplay, and keep the conversation going throughout the run. That way, we get the best of both worlds. We can talk about different ideas, hear your opinions in the comments, and still pay attention to everything happening on the screen. I think it'll make the rest of the run more fun, especially since we've still got a long way to go before we're finished. And guys, we're now getting very close to 11 million score, and at the same time we've already collected around 15,000 coins. That's actually a crazy amount when you think about it. And remember, those coins can be doubled at the end, which makes the total even bigger. So both goals are progressing really well right now. The score keeps climbing, the coins keep stacking up, and this combo is continuing to perform exactly the way we hoped it would. What's even more surprising is that we're only about 23 minutes into the gameplay. It honestly doesn't feel like that much time has passed already. 1 minute we're talking about secret stars, the next minute we're sitting near 11 million score with thousands of coins collected. That's why longer runs are always interesting, because the numbers keep growing in the background while you're focused on everything else happening during the gameplay. And the best part is that we're still not done yet. There's still plenty of run left ahead of us, which means both the score and coin count are going to keep increasing. At this rate, I'm actually curious to see where we end up by the end of the gameplay. Do you think we'll surprise ourselves with the final numbers, or do you already have a prediction in mind? Let me know, because right now this run is looking really strong. It's actually funny, guys, because I'm sitting here asking you to guess the final score and predict how the run will end, but technically most of you already know the result. The title probably tells you, the thumbnail probably tells you, and some of you clicked the video because of that exact number. So in a way, the final result isn't really a mystery. You already know where we're going. The interesting part is everything that happens before we get there. Because even if you know the final score, you still don't know the actual journey. You don't know how many close calls happened during the run. You don't know which districts gave us the most trouble. You don't know how many times we nearly messed something up and had to recover. That's the part that makes gameplay videos fun. The destination is important, but the journey to get there is what makes the video worth watching. And another thing you don't know is how many times we ended up activating the hoverboard during the run. You don't know exactly when we used it, when we saved it, or how many times it helped us escape a bad situation. Those are the little details that don't show up in the title or thumbnail. That's why I always say it's worth watching the gameplay itself instead of only looking at the final result. You also don't know how many crashes happened throughout the run. Maybe there were none. Maybe there were a few. Maybe there were moments where the run almost ended completely. That's another reason I like longer gameplay videos. Even if two players finish with the same score, the path they take to reach that score can be completely different. That's something you can only understand by watching the gameplay from beginning to end. And guys, if you've made it this far into the video, don't forget to like and subscribe. As I mentioned earlier, making a video this long takes a lot of effort. Recording is one thing, but giving commentary for such a long run is a challenge on its own. Keeping the conversation going, finding topics to talk about, and staying focused on the gameplay at the same time isn't always easy, especially during longer sessions like this one. And on top of that, this is basically raw gameplay without cutting out everything. I'm still editing the video, syncing the commentary, and putting everything together properly. A video that's over an hour long takes a lot more work than people usually realize. So if you enjoy these longer runs, a like and subscribe really do help. They motivate me to keep making more videos like this and continue bringing these challenges to the channel. And guys, if you're somehow still watching up to this point, I want you to comment Night Owl in the comments. Don't tell anyone why, just type that one word. I know most people probably won't make it this far into a long gameplay video like this, but who knows, maybe a few of you are still here. A very small hope maybe. It'll be fun to see how many people actually stayed until this part of the run and are still watching right now. Alright guys, let's officially start our topic discussions. And the first topic is a fun one. Which district has the best soundtrack in Subway Surfers City? There are quite a few good ones in the game, and honestly, the music does a lot to change the feeling of a district. Some soundtracks make the gameplay feel relaxed, some make it feel energetic, and some just stay in your head long after you've stopped playing. So I'm curious to hear what you guys think about this one. For me personally, I'd have to go with Undertracks. There's just something about that soundtrack that I really like. Every time I enter the district and hear it playing, it instantly stands out. And you know what's funny? I still remember Vector whenever I hear it. At this point, it almost feels like Undertracks was made for Vector rather than Vector being made for Undertracks. That's how much I connect those two together in my mind whenever I see that district. But that's just my opinion, guys. Now it's your turn. Which district soundtrack is your favorite? Is it Undertracks like me, or do you prefer something completely different? Maybe DeLorean Park, Sunrise Boulevard, Southline, or even the Docks. Let me know in the comments because I'm interested to see which soundtrack gets the most votes from you guys. The run has come pretty far now. We're already sitting at around 13 million score, which is a pretty good position to be in. Time has gone by quickly and the score just keeps climbing. Looking back, I think we've crashed the hoverboard quite a few times already. I honestly lost count at some point. But despite that, there's one thing I'm actually happy about. Even with those hoverboard crashes, I still haven't used a single soda can revive so far during this run. That's probably my biggest flex right now. The hoverboard may have disappeared a few times, but I never actually crashed out without protection and had to continue using a soda can. That's something I'm really happy about because staying alive naturally was one of my goals from the beginning. Of course, we still have a long way to go, so who knows what might happen later. The future can always surprise us, especially in longer runs like this one where anything can happen. And also guys, remember that I'm editing this video during the daytime, but the actual gameplay was recorded late at night. I've mentioned this before, but I was feeling pretty sleepy during the run. Maybe that's one reason my concentration wasn't at its best. Now, some of you might think I'm making excuses, but if you've watched my older long runs, you'll know I usually don't make these kinds of mistakes very often. That's why I think the late night timing definitely played a part. But even with that, I think the run is going pretty well overall. We're already at 13 million score, we still haven't used a soda can, and the challenge is moving in the right direction. So let's see what the rest of the gameplay has waiting for us. Stay with me until the end, guys. We've already come a long way together, and I think the remaining part of the run is going to be just as interesting as everything we've seen so far. Coming to our second topic. Which outfit do you think is the best in Subway Surfers City right now? For me, the answer is pretty easy. My number one favorite outfit is definitely Vector's Virtual Rebel outfit. Every time I see it, it just stands out immediately. The futuristic design, the colors, and the effects all look amazing together. Even after all this time, it's still the outfit that impresses me the most whenever I see it during a run. And one reason I like it so much is because of how perfectly it matches Undertracks. Whenever Vector enters that district, everything feels connected. The lasers, the atmosphere, the soundtrack, and the outfit itself all work together so well. I still remember Vector whenever I hear the Undertracks soundtrack. At this point, it almost feels like Undertracks was made for Vector rather than Vector being made for Undertracks. That's how strong that combination feels to me. My second favorite outfit would be Lucy's Grave Queen outfit. This outfit has a completely different style compared to Virtual Rebel, but that's exactly why I like it. It looks unique, stands out instantly, and always catches my attention whenever I see it. The overall design is really well done, and it feels like one of those outfits that you recognize immediately without even needing to look twice at the character. Then my third favorite would be Tricky's Neon Stripes outfit. This one is probably the brightest and most colorful out of the three. Whenever I see it in gameplay, it immediately grabs my attention because of how vibrant it looks. It works especially well in districts with lots of lights around them, and I think it gives Tricky a really fun and energetic appearance that fits her character very nicely. Now, legendary outfits are a completely different category for me. I don't really compare them with these outfits because they're designed differently and have their own special effects. So for this topic, I'm only talking about outfits like Virtual Rebel, Grave Queen, and Neon Stripes. But what about you guys? Which outfit would you put at number 1? Do you agree with my ranking, or would your top 3 look completely different? Speaking of the gameplay itself, we're getting very close to 16 million score now, and we've already collected around 22,000 coins. That's a pretty crazy number when you stop and think about it. The score keeps climbing, the coins keep stacking up, and this run is still going strong. We've already been through a lot of districts, talked about a lot of topics, and somehow the numbers are still increasing at a really good pace throughout the gameplay. And the funniest part is that those 22,000 coins aren't even the final total. Since we can double them at the end, we're basically looking at around 44,000 coins from a single run. That's honestly a huge amount. When we started this gameplay, I knew this combo was good for farming, but seeing numbers like this appear during the run is still impressive. It really shows why this combo became so popular in the first place among a lot of players. What's even better is that we're getting both things at the same time. Usually you focus either on score or on coins, but today we're making progress on both. We're approaching 17 million score while also building a massive coin count in the background. So far, the challenge is working exactly the way I hoped it would. Now let's see how much further we can push these numbers before the run finally comes to an end. So here's another topic for you. How many characters have you unlocked in Subway Surfers City so far? I'm actually curious about this one because everyone's account progress is different. Some of you might still be unlocking your first few characters, while others may have almost the entire collection already. So let me know in the comments how many you've managed to unlock until now, and which one is your favorite to use during runs. As for me, I've unlocked almost every character currently available in the game. The only ones I'm still missing right now are Jaewoo and Tasha. Other than those two, I've pretty much managed to unlock everyone else. So my collection is getting very close to being complete, which is nice to see after spending so much time playing and collecting different characters throughout the updates. And honestly, I don't think it'll take too long before I unlock those two as well. I'm just waiting for the right opportunity. If I find a really interesting combo involving Jae-woo or Tasha, then that'll probably give me the perfect excuse to start working on them properly. I always like unlocking characters when I have a fun challenge or gameplay idea to go along with it rather than doing it completely randomly. That's actually one reason I enjoy testing different combinations. Sometimes a new character ends up creating a completely different playstyle, and that's what makes the game more interesting. So whenever I finally unlock Jae-woo and Tasha, I'll definitely try to find some good setups for them and see what they can do. Who knows, maybe one of them will end up becoming part of a future high score or coin farming challenge. So now it's your turn, guys. How many characters have you unlocked so far, and which one do you use the most? Do you have a favorite character that you always come back to, or do you keep switching depending on the combo you're using? Let me know because I'm interested to see how everyone's character collection is looking right now. And again, here's something personal that I wanted to share. I started editing this video at around 5:30 p.m. and right now the time is already about 9:15 p.m. That's nearly 4 hours gone already. And you know what's crazy? After spending all that time on this project, I've only managed to finish the commentary until this part of the gameplay. That's how much time a long video like this can take when you're trying to do everything properly and not rush through the process. A lot of people see a long video get uploaded and probably think it was finished in a few hours. But the commentary alone takes a huge amount of time. I have to watch the gameplay, think about what to talk about, record everything, and make sure it sounds natural. For a video that's over an hour long, that becomes a really big task. Sometimes I feel like recording the commentary takes almost as much effort as actually playing the gameplay itself. And the work doesn't stop after I finish talking either. Once the commentary is done, I still have to export the entire video. That's another thing I always think about because I never know how large the final file is going to be. Then I have to wait for the rendering process to finish, and sometimes that takes quite a while too. So even when the editing part feels complete, there are still several steps left before the video is actually ready. Then comes the uploading stage. After exporting, I still have to upload the video to YouTube, and for longer videos that can take a good amount of time as well. And even after that, the project still isn't finished because I have to make the thumbnail. That's another job on its own. Finding the right screenshot, placing everything correctly, and making sure it looks good enough to click takes a lot more time than most people would expect. What's funny is that I recorded this gameplay on June 7th, started editing it on June 8th, and there's a good chance I'll still be working on it on June 9th as well. So this single video is stretching across multiple days. That's why I always appreciate people who watch these longer videos. If you've ever edited content yourself, you'll know how much work goes into it. So if you enjoy the video, a like and subscribe genuinely help motivate me to keep making more content like this. One thing I've learned from making longer videos is that the gameplay itself is usually the easiest part. You start the run, play the game, and try your best. But everything that comes after that is where the real work begins. Commentary, editing, exporting, uploading, thumbnails, and checking everything one final time all add up very quickly. That's why a single video can end up taking several times longer than the gameplay itself. Sometimes when I'm editing, I look at the timeline and think I've made a lot of progress. Then I realize there are still dozens of minutes left to go through. That's when you really understand how long a video like this is. And since I don't want to rush anything, I try to take my time with it. I'd rather spend extra time making the video better than finish quickly and end up being unhappy with the final result. Another thing people don't always see is how much concentration editing requires. When you're recording gameplay, you're focused on the game. But while editing, you're listening, watching, checking timings, fixing small mistakes, and making sure everything works together properly. Even small adjustments take time. That's why a few minutes of finished video can sometimes represent a surprisingly large amount of work behind the scenes. And because this is a long gameplay video, every step becomes longer too. A longer recording means more commentary means more editing means longer exports. Longer exports usually mean larger files, then larger files take longer to upload. Everything is connected. That's why projects like this often take multiple days from the moment the gameplay is recorded until the moment the video is finally published. So, yeah guys, I just wanted to share that because I don't think I've talked about it much before. A lot happens behind the scenes before a video reaches your screen. If you've stayed with me through this gameplay, thank you for watching. And if you enjoy these longer videos and want to see more of them in the future, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. It genuinely helps and makes all the time spent on videos like this feel worthwhile. Now, talking about the gameplay itself, we're actually getting very close to 20 million score now. And if you guys remember the Billy coin farming video, we reached around 18.4 million score in that run. Well, we've already gone past that number quite comfortably. So to be precise, we've officially created a new high score for Billy. The old record has been beaten, and we're still continuing the run. That's a really nice thing to see after spending so much time in today's gameplay. And honestly, that's what makes high score runs so fun. You start the gameplay with a target in mind, and then little by little you get closer until you finally pass it. Once you beat the old score, everything after that feels like a bonus. That's exactly where we are right now. The previous Billy record is behind us. We're approaching 20 million score, and every extra point from now on is simply helping us push the record even further. Now let's talk about the coins, because those numbers are looking absolutely crazy too. We're already close to 27,000 coins, which is a huge amount by itself. But remember, those coins can be doubled at the end. So we're basically looking at around 54,000 coins from a single run. That's honestly insane when you stop and think about it. I knew this combo was strong for coin farming, but these numbers are still impressive to look at. And the craziest part is that all of this happened in only about 39 to 40 minutes of gameplay. Nearly 20 million score and around 54,000 coins after doubling them, all within a single run. That's exactly why I wanted to test this combo in a longer challenge. The longer you survive, the more value it keeps generating. So far, I'd say it's doing an amazing job, and I'm really interested to see how much higher these numbers can still go before the run finally ends. So what do you guys think about the gameplay so far? We've broken Billy's previous high score. We're approaching 20 million points, or maybe approached, and the coin count is becoming massive. Are these numbers higher than you expected when the run started? Or did you already know this combo was capable of something like this? Let me know in the comments, because personally I'm very happy with how today's challenge has turned out so far. So we've officially reached the halfway point of the gameplay, and you know what that means. It also means I've officially finished giving commentary for about half of the video. And honestly, it's kinda crazy when I think about it. It took me around 4 hours just to cover roughly 40 minutes of gameplay. That's a lot of time spent sitting, watching, thinking of topics, and recording commentary. I hope some of you editors watching this can relate to what I'm talking about right now. Because when people see a finished video, they usually only see the final result. They don't see the hours spent behind the scenes. They don't see the pauses, the retakes, the moments where you run out of things to say, or the time spent thinking about the next topic. That's one reason why longer videos are such a challenge. You're not just editing them. You're constantly trying to keep the commentary interesting from beginning to end. And here's the moment, guys. This is where I finally crashed out at around 21 million score. Not exactly the moment I wanted to see, but that's part of doing longer runs. Sooner or later, a mistake catches up to you. The good thing is that the run isn't over yet. We still have a soda can available, and I'm definitely not going to stop here. We've already come way too far to give up now, so let's use the revive and keep this gameplay going. And I'm not completely satisfied with this score either. Yes, 21 million is a good number, but I still feel like there's more left in this run. That's another reason I'm choosing to continue instead of ending it here. We've still got time, we still have resources, and there's still room to push the score much higher. So guys, just as we crashed out, I wanted to ask you something. What do you think is the hardest obstacle in Subway Surfers City? Is there any specific hurdle that always causes problems for you? For me, it's usually those tight paths where there's barely any room to move properly. You have to keep switching lanes quickly while obstacles keep appearing in front of you. One small mistake in those sections can end a really good run almost instantly if you're not careful. I also find certain train sections difficult sometimes. You know those moments where everything feels crowded and you have very little space to react? Those are the situations that usually make me nervous during longer runs. The game becomes much faster. Obstacles start appearing one after another, and suddenly you're making decisions in a split second. That's usually where mistakes happen for me, especially when the score is already very high and the speed keeps increasing. And if we're talking about districts, I would probably say South Line gives me the most trouble. Some of the paths there feel tighter compared to other districts, and I always feel like I have to concentrate a little harder whenever I'm running through it. Then there's the docks. The containers aren't impossible to deal with, but sometimes they make everything feel more crowded than usual. In fact, situations like those are one reason I crashed out earlier. Of course, that's also what makes the game challenging and fun at the same time. If every district was easy, high-score runs wouldn't feel nearly as rewarding. The difficult sections are the reason we have to stay focused and keep paying attention. Even after playing for a long time, there are still moments where the game manages to surprise you. That's one reason why every long run feels a little different, even when you've played the same districts many times before. What about you guys? Is there a specific obstacle, district, or situation that you don't like dealing with? Maybe there's one hurdle that always catches you, or maybe there's a district where your runs usually end. Let me know in the comments. And yeah, I know I've been asking a lot of questions throughout this gameplay, but that's because we're doing a really long run. You don't have to answer every question either. Even one answer is perfectly fine. Now let's continue the run. Okay guys, I just looked at the numbers again and I had to double check them because they're getting ridiculous now. We're almost at 23 million score, and at the same time we're sitting near 32,000 coins. That's not a small number anymore. At this point, the coin counter is climbing so fast that every few minutes it feels like another big milestone appears out of nowhere. This run has definitely gone much further than I expected when we first started. And let's not forget what those coins actually mean. Nearly 32,000 coins now means we're looking at almost 64,000 coins after doubling them at the end. That's enough to make any coin farming fan happy. The funny thing is that today's goal wasn't even pure coin farming. We came here to do a high score run too. Yet somehow this combo has decided to perform really well in both categories and give us the best of both worlds. What I like most about this run is that it never really slowed down. Usually there comes a point where a run starts feeling average or stops surprising you. But today, every time I check the score or the coin count, there's another milestone waiting. First it was 10 million, then 15 million, then 20 million, and now we're already talking about 23 million. The progress has been surprisingly smooth from the beginning. And if you had shown me these numbers before the run started, I probably would have said, yeah, that's a pretty good result. But seeing them happen live during the gameplay feels completely different. Watching the score grow, watching the coins stack up, and seeing the combo keep working again and again makes the achievement feel much more satisfying than simply looking at the final numbers on a screen. So now I have to ask you guys another question. Which number impresses you more right now? The fact that we're almost at 23 million score, or the fact that we're close to 64,000 coins after doubling them? Personally, I think both are pretty crazy. Well guys, we crashed again. This time the victim was me and the crime scene was under tracks. At this point, I'm officially filing a complaint against Sleep. Seriously, if you're wondering who caused that crash, I'm pointing directly at the version of me that decided recording a long high-score run late at night was a brilliant idea. Looking back at it now, I can already see my sleepy brain making decisions that my daytime brain would never approve of during a serious run. And you know what's funny? Even while recording, I remember thinking, yeah, I'm definitely not playing at my normal level right now. Usually in longer runs, I'm much more focused. But this time, the sleepiness was slowly winning every district we entered. The obstacles weren't even doing anything special. My concentration was basically packing its bags and leaving the run 1 minute at a time. So yes, I'm blaming the sleep again, and I think I have a pretty good case. Anyway, no point staring at the crash screen forever. That's exactly why we have soda cans. So we used one, got right back into the gameplay, and continued the run. A crash is annoying, sure, but it doesn't mean the challenge is over. We've already come too far not to stop now. There are still more points waiting for us, and as long as we still have a chance to continue, I'm going to keep pushing the score higher and see where this run ends up. And to be honest, even at that moment I still wasn't satisfied with the score. Yes, the number was already good, but in my head I kept thinking that there was still more left to achieve. That's why using the soda can wasn't even a difficult decision. I wasn't looking at the score and thinking, okay, let's stop here. I was looking at it and thinking, nope, we're going higher. That was pretty much my mindset the second I pressed the continue button. So that's exactly what we did. We picked ourselves up, blamed the sleep one more time, used the soda can, and jumped straight back into the action. Maybe the crash was a warning, maybe it was a reminder to stay focused, or maybe Undertrack simply decided it wanted a free soda can from me. Either way, the run wasn't ending there. The mission was still alive, the score was still growing, and I was still determined to push it much further. Speaking of that, do you save your soda cans or do you spend them whenever you need them? I'm actually curious about this because I know different players have completely different strategies. Some people use them immediately after a crash, while others save every single can they get and refuse to spend them unless it's absolutely necessary. So let me know which type of player you are because I think both approaches are pretty common. For me personally, I usually save my soda cans most of the time. I don't really like using them during normal runs unless there's a very good reason. The main time I spend them is during longer high-score runs like this one. If I've already spent a lot of time building a score and a crash happens, then using a soda can makes much more sense. That's usually when I feel like they're worth using because there's already a lot of progress on the line. Another time I use soda cans is when the game gives those missions that ask you to revive a certain number of times. You know, the ones that say things like revive 5 times or revive several times to complete the objective. In those situations, I don't mind spending cans because they're directly helping me finish a mission and earn rewards. If a mission is asking for revives anyway, I might as well make some progress toward completing it. Outside of those situations, though, I usually prefer saving them. You never know when a really important run is going to happen, and it's always nice having a good number of cans available when you need them. That's why I try not to waste them randomly. I'd rather keep them ready for high-score attempts, difficult challenges, or mission objectives instead of spending them on every small mistake that happens during regular gameplay. So what about you guys? Are you the type of player who saves every soda can possible? Or do you spend them whenever you feel like continuing a run? And how many cans do you currently have on your account right now? I'm interested to know because everyone's playstyle is different. For me, high-score runs and revive missions are usually the only times those cans come out of storage and finally get used. And while we're talking about soda cans, I think you've probably noticed something already. We are absolutely destroying our hoverboards today. At this point, I don't even think the obstacles are winning. I think my sleepiness and the hoverboards have started a secret partnership against me. Every time I get comfortable, another crash shows up and reminds me that recording this run late at night may not have been my smartest decision. I mean, look at what's happening. Normally I'd like to say I have everything under control, but today my concentration seems to be on vacation. The crazy part is that this wasn't even near the end of the gameplay. Usually you expect mistakes when you've been playing for a really long time, but here I was already losing focus much earlier than usual. Looking back at the footage, I can practically see my brain slowly powering down one district at a time during the run. And if I'm remembering correctly, I think I crashed more than 2 times within only a few minutes. That's actually impressive, but probably not in a good way. At one point, it felt like I was collecting crashes faster than I was collecting rewards. Every time I thought, okay, let's focus now, the game immediately gave me another opportunity to test how awake I really was. Spoiler alert, the answer wasn't very awake. So yeah, if you're wondering what caused all these hoverboard accidents today, I'm officially blaming sleep. Not the obstacles, not the districts, not the combo, just sleep. The poor hoverboards were out there doing their best, and meanwhile I was trying to pilot them with half my concentration missing. Somehow the run is still alive though, which is honestly the most surprising part of this entire gameplay so far. And despite all the crashes we've had recently, we're somehow approaching 26 million score now. At this point, I think the score has decided to ignore my mistakes completely. Every time I crash, it feels like the run just says, "Nice try, now get back in and continue." We started this gameplay a long time ago, and somehow we're still here pushing higher and higher. The score just keeps moving, and I'm definitely not complaining about that. And then there's the coin count. We're getting close to 37,000 coins, which means we're looking at nearly 74,000 coins after doubling them. That's a huge amount from a single run. The funny part is that this was supposed to be a high-score challenge, yet the coin count has been putting on a performance of its own. It's like the score and the coins are having a competition to see which one can surprise us more before the run ends. Meanwhile, my hoverboards have been working overtime today. I think they've gone through more action than they signed up for. Every few minutes, one of them sacrifices itself to save the run, and then another one shows up ready for duty. At this point, the hoverboards deserve their own rewards after everything they've done. Without them, this gameplay would have probably ended a lot earlier than it actually did. And let's not forget my greatest enemy in today's video, sleep. The obstacles are trying their best, the districts are trying their best, but sleep has been the real final boss from the beginning. Looking back at some of these crashes, I can already imagine myself watching the footage and saying, what was I even trying to do there? Some of these mistakes definitely have sleepy brain energy written all over them. What's making me laugh is that we've spent so much time talking about random topics during this run. We talked about outfits, districts, secret stars, soda cans, editing videos, favorite soundtracks, and a bunch of other things. Meanwhile, the gameplay has quietly been stacking millions of points in the background. The score has basically been doing its own thing while we've been busy having conversations the entire time. So now, let's keep going and see where this run finally decides to stop. We've already come this far, survived more than a few disasters, and collected an unbelievable number of coins along the way. At this stage, every extra minute feels like a bonus. The score is still climbing, the gameplay is still alive, and who knows what milestone we'll be talking about next. Let's continue and find out together. Alright guys, here's what I'm thinking. At first, I plan to give commentary throughout the entire gameplay, but this video is taking much longer to edit than I expected. At this point, I've already spent around 6 hours working on it, and the time is already about 11:30 p.m. So instead of stretching everything out, I think I'm going to make the editing a little smarter from here. That way, I can finish the video properly without spending another entire night on it. So what I'm probably going to do is cut some of the gameplay and show you the important milestones instead. For example, right now we're around 27 million score, and from here I'll show the moments where we reach 28 million, 29 million, and so on until we reach the final goal. That way you still get to see the progress, the score increases, and the important moments without having to sit through every single minute of the run. And don't worry, I'm not just going to skip everything and disappear. I'll still talk about the gameplay, the score, and the progress whenever we hit those milestones. I'll also show how many points we've gained and what's happening during the run, so you're not really missing the important parts. I'm just trimming some of the quieter sections where not much is happening so the video moves along a little faster. Plus, I think most of the topics I wanted to discuss have already been covered anyway. We've talked about outfits, districts, secret stars, soundtracks, soda cans, obstacles, characters, editing, and a bunch of other random things throughout this gameplay. So I don't think you guys will mind if we speed things up a little from here. We've already had plenty of conversations during this run. And don't worry, I'll definitely be back when we reach the end. Once we've finished the challenge and locked in the final score, I'll talk about the results properly and share my thoughts on the run. So let's fast forward through some of these sections, keep pushing the score higher, and meet again at the next big milestone. I think that'll make things easier for both of us and help get this video finished before midnight. There we go guys, 29 million score and 40,000 coins. The score is still moving nicely, and at this point we're just stacking milestones one after another. And just like that, we've crossed 30 million score and are approaching 42,000 coins. The run is still alive, and the combo is still doing its thing. Now we're at 31 million with around 43,000 coins collected. Every time I look at the score, another million seems to appear. 32 million score already and almost 45,000 coins. The numbers are getting bigger and bigger now, and we're still continuing. There goes 33 million with nearly 46,000 coins. At this stage, the score is basically farming itself while we're just trying to stay alive. And now 34 million score with 47,000 coins. Another milestone completed, and somehow the run still refuses to end. 35 million score and almost 49,000 coins. This run has definitely gone much further than I thought it would when we started. And there we go, 36 million score. We've officially beaten the old Utani high score and we've crossed 50,000 coins too. That's a huge moment. Now we're at 37 million with 51,000 coins. The record keeps growing and every extra million now feels like a bonus. 38 million score and almost 53,000 coins. The run is still standing and we're squeezing every possible point out of it. And now 39 million score with 54,000 coins collected. One more million stands between us and a massive milestone. Guys, 40 million score. We actually did it. From the moment this run started, I wanted a new record, but I never expected it to go this far. We've reached 40 million score and collected 55,450 coins, which is absolutely insane for a single run. Despite the crashes, despite recording this while feeling sleepy, and despite all the mistakes along the way, we kept pushing forward. This has officially become my best Billy run ever, and I couldn't be happier with how far we've come today. And there we go, guys. The run is about to end, and I'm really happy with the result we achieved today. What a journey this has been. We finished with a final score of 40,333,244, which is an amazing result. We also collected 55,866 coins, and after doubling them at the end, that gives us a total of 111,732 coins. That's a huge amount from a single run. We came into this challenge hoping for a new high score, and we ended up completely surpassing my expectations. Another cool thing is that this run actually placed us in the top 24 of the Top Run Leaderboard. Unfortunately, by the time you're watching this video, that leaderboard position is probably gone, because a new Top Run event would have started already. I recorded this gameplay right near the end of the event, so there wasn't much time remaining. I really wish you guys could have seen it while it was still there, because it felt great seeing our score on the leaderboard. And with that, we're finally done. Thank you so much for watching this long gameplay from start to finish. We talked about so many different topics, survived plenty of crashes, blamed sleep throughout the run, and still managed to reach over 40 million score in the end. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and let me know what combo or challenge you want to see next. I'll see you guys in the next Subway Surfers City video. Bye, guys.